Hey everybody, I'm Stacy with Pitch Deck Fire, and we are here with another pitch hack video of the week today. So I'm so excited you guys have joined us to help your company shine in an upcoming pitch. So if you haven't been here before, we focus on tips and tricks on pitching, pitch decks, investor decks, sales decks, live presentations, all of the above. If you are a startup company looking for funding, if you're an established company looking for customers, maybe you're pitching in a pitch competition, or perhaps you're even an employee at a corporate incubator program, all of you, we can help. These videos are going to have information that's going to be valuable to you. So let's just launch right into it today. So what is our pitch hack of the week today? Today we have, how do I prevent investors from stealing my idea? How do we prevent investors from stealing our idea? Number one, I don't really think it's something you need to worry that much about, and I'll tell you why. So most investors that you're going to be pitching to, like for example, accredited investors, institutionalized investors like venture capital or something like that, or angel investors that are well known in the industry, those kinds of investors, they aren't there to steal your idea. It's just not what they're there for. That's not what they do. Their job is to find a good deal, a good opportunity to put their money into, to have the experts, the people that are running these companies, the people with the idea, the people on the ground, to actually take that money and like multiply it for them. That's what they're looking for. They're not looking to find a good idea and go do it themselves. They might have done businesses in the past. They might be serial entrepreneurs, but generally when they're getting to a point where they're investing, that's what their focus is on investing in good companies. So number one, if you're talking to the right people, you're talking to people that are actually established investors or people in the industry, then you're not really at a big concern there. That said, if you're really concerned about it, there's a couple ways we can make sure that you're protected, or at least somewhat protected. I'm not a lawyer, so you definitely want to talk to your lawyer about some of the stuff that we're talking about here today, because whether you're actually covered or not is not something I'm going to be able to tell you in your particular situation. So definitely disclaimer, talk to your lawyer if you want to make sure that these kind of things will protect you. But what I've seen when we've been putting together pitch decks for our clients and in the industry as a whole is a couple things. So sometimes I've seen people ask investors to sign an NDA before they give them their pitch, or before they give them a version of their pitch that has proprietary information in it. That's one option. I would say it's gonna be a little bit hard to convince most investors to sign an NDA before they see your pitch, because it's just not part of their normal processes, and again, they're not there to steal your idea. And if you really think that just the idea alone is what makes the business successful, they're probably not going to be super excited in investing in you. Because to be honest, it's about execution. It's about actually going out there in the marketplace, testing it, getting the brand built, doing the things you need to do to make it work, right? That's what actually makes the business successful. The idea is a part of it, but it's only one part of it. So if you're focused too much on protecting that idea, you're not going to be able to get the insights, the information, the feedback, the things you're going to need to actually be successful. So a lot of investors aren't really going to sign an NDA, but that's one option, is to send them an NDA. And if you're really concerned, that might be a good option for you. Another thing too that I've seen people do is put a disclaimer in their pitch itself. So the first page or in one of the pages, they put a disclaimer. Maybe at the bottom of the page, they put a confidential, do not distribute. Those are all worthwhile doing. It's not going to hurt anything to put those in. But from what I've heard, at least from some of the lawyers that I've talked to, they may or may not be fully defensible. So talk to your lawyer, like I said. But you may be able to protect yourself a little bit by putting some disclaimers in the actual pitch itself, the deck itself that you're sending out. And a lot of times what I'm talking about here is when we're sending a deck, like a visual document that we're using to convey our information to an investor. So we've put together a pitch deck and we're sending that out. So when I'm saying put the disclaimer and putting information on the slides, that's what I'm referring to. So that's one way to do it. Another way that I've seen people protect themselves, I would say, to some extent, is to make it hard to access their pitch. There's some pros and cons with this. So one of the ways I see people do it is to host their pitch on a hosting site. Some hosting sites have, limited login information. Maybe you can give a secure link or a secure login to, a potential investor. They're gonna have to navigate to that site, log in with the appropriate credentials. Some of the value is that you can see when they've logged in, and you can see how many slides they've looked at and things like that. But at the same time, you are adding a little bit of cumbersomeness to the process. You're making it a little bit harder for your investor to actually go and look at your pitch. And they've got a lot of these pitches to look at. And I don't know, I mean, you don't really want to have any little thing get in your way of grabbing their attention. So I would be very wary of having, too many loopholes that they have to jump through to see your pitch. But I do see people do that as a way to perhaps protect themselves. They put their pitch deck on a hosting site. They have limited login ability to get to that pitch deck, so that hopefully you're not getting people, sending that deck around, showing it to their friends, and it may be getting into the hands of, your competitor or something like that. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit on how to prevent investors from stealing your idea. It's not necessarily something I think you should be super concerned about, but if you are, there's a couple ways you can look at trying to protect yourself. Again, I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is that it's not the idea that makes a company, it's the execution of it. So focus more on how you're going to actually execute, what's going to make that different, really show up, do the work, build the company, and you won't really be worried as much about, someone stealing your idea. So thanks for joining me today for our pitch hack of the week this week. I hope you found it helpful. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If there's any lawyers out there, startup lawyers, love for you guys to send your information down there. I bet you people are wanting to talk to you a little bit more about how to protect themselves in this case. So any lawyers want to put their 2 cents in, I'd love it. And if you guys want to give me your ideas or thoughts on how you've dealt with this before, or how you've prevented things before, or even if you've seen this happen to somebody where an investor has stolen their idea, I'd love to hear if that's happened and the stories there. So share it down below. I'd love to have an ongoing conversation in our comments here. We put out new pitch hacks every week. I'd love to see you guys here again soon. Happy pitching!